So first basic idea, we are going to start with quadratic equations. While the name is quadratic, what we will try to do is to focus on the fact that it is an equation. Of course, we will be starting with quadratic equations, but we will try to understand the general theory of equations. You don't have it for your CBSE, and in principle you don't have it for IIT as well, but it will be good to know what to do at least some level with a cubic, with a biquadratic, which means degree 4 and so on. Any nth degree polynomial, what can I do with it? That is something that we will try to explore a little later, not today. Today we will start with basic stuff. Okay, so first of all, what is a quadratic? What does it mean? Highest degree is 2. It's a polynomial equated to 0. So you usually write this like this. So you write ax square plus bx plus c, and you say that is equal to 0. Now, why will this be even a chapter? Why should we study this? What is the big deal about this? First of all, why do we study equations? Why is this equal to 0 such an important thing? But why should everything be equal to 0? Why can't it be equal to 7? So the basic point is, you have two processes. With algebra, you have two processes. One is, suppose I call this f of x, a function of x. And we can think of any polynomial function right now. We can later think of things which are not even polynomial function. Every f of x, if you try to draw, it probably looks like that. Not a quadratic. Some random function may look like this. We are interested in when it crosses the x-axis. The reason we are interested in this is not because when it crosses is such an important thing. We generally, you want one very easy thing to do is when, so you ask this question, when x is 3, f of x is what? That's the easy question to answer, because if I say x is 3 here, this is f of x. If I want to draw it, I need to find the value of the function when x is 3. What do we call it in basic algebra? Substitute 3. No, it may not be 0. F of 3 may not be 0. Substitute 3. The reverse question is, I know, so if you substitute 3, what may we get? You may probably get 8.5. I'm just cooking up something, but I'm just saying that means f of 3 is 8.5. But the reverse question is, I know f of x must be 7. Some reason I know it is 7. So what is the value? You say 7 here. At this, what is the value? That. At f of x is 7 means the value is this or that. And where will we get this? Whenever you have a question and you say, I don't know this quantity, let me call it x, and you read the statement out and you basically convert it into an equation, ultimately you are going to get something like this. My age is so much. 3 times my age plus 4 times your age is equal to something else. Now when I do that, my age is x, your age is y, so we are writing an equation. So what is it going to look like? It is going to look like something in terms of x or y is equal to 7. But the point is, this is a very complicated thing for a mathematician to think about, because every time this can be 7, 8, 9, 10, 3.6. So you say, let's take it to that side and create a new function. The new function is f of x minus 7. And if this fellow is 0, I will call this new function as g of x. So now I will only learn how to solve g of x is equal to 0. Because whenever I have a question, when is f of x equal to 7? The answer is whenever g of x is equal to 0. So you stop worrying about when f of x is 7, you only worry about when f of x is 0. Because everything else, you can just simply say, let me move the x-axis up or let me move the function down. You understand? So equations are ways for us to solve any kind of question, because everything can be converted to something equal to 0. It's an equation even otherwise, but if you bring it to one side, you can say it is something equal to 0. So therefore we say, I want to find the roots of this function. Why roots? But actually it was not equal to 0 that was important, it was equal to 7 that was important. You can always convert it to equal to 0. this turns out to be an easier form to deal with things. So actually you're not trying to find only roots, you're also trying to find out when will a function become 7. When will this particular expression I have written equal 24? Because that is actually real question will be when will this be equal to 24? You get what I'm saying? But you will not try to solve for when this is equal to 24. The way we will solve it is bring it to this side. When will this minus 24, which is the new expression, equal 0? The advantage is that mathematically you are always looking for this kind of a expression being equal to 0. So we start focusing on the importance of this being equal to 0. Now graphically what does that mean? It means when this function crosses or hits the x-axis. Now this quadratic polynomial, not 0, suppose I say this was equal to y, as x changes, this fellow basically is a function like this. Actually it will turn out that there are only 4 possibilities. One possibility is it looks like this, or like this, or like that, it doesn't matter, never touches the x-axis. The other possibility is it looks like this, again never touches the x-axis. The third possibility is it looks like this, either on this side it could touch here, all of that I am counting as one possibility, and the other possibility is it could touch like this or it could cross over like that. There are special cases of this and this. When this fellow starts to lift up, it might happen that it was a thing that looks like this. So that means it is touching the x-axis once, it is cutting the x-axis twice, never cuts the x-axis, it is cutting the x-axis twice, never cuts the x-axis, and of course you can also have a case where it looks like this, touching the x-axis from below. This is touching the x-axis from above. So it looks like there are 6 cases, but really there are 1, 2, the limiting case, as this comes down, that goes up, actually it is touching once. So that's basically only 2 cases with one extra special in between case. Similarly, there are 2 cases, and if you bring this down, this will become one solution. So we talk about these points as roots. So we call the value of x at which this will become 0, y will become 0 as the root. It will help us solve for anything else where it is equal to 7, so equal to 19, because you will take that 19 and call it c minus 19. So we will not study equal to 19 separately, we will only focus on this because everything else can become this one. Okay. So the basic idea is it is not just true for quadratic, it is true for any kind of function. Because once you say I have found f of x is equal to 0, we by the way call that value, suppose I say at alpha x is equal to alpha, f of x becomes 0, f of alpha is 0. Okay, alpha is the place where f of x cuts. It may not be the only place, it may be one of the places, it may cut many more times. Okay, now alpha is a root of this equation. Alpha is also called the 0, so it is the root of this equation. It is also called the 0 of f of x. It is a place where f of x becomes 0. But you know, for a polynomial, for example, you don't say what is the root of a polynomial. You say what is the root of an equation. Without this, this is a polynomial. So what is the 0 of a polynomial? Just a terminology. Okay. So once I find that alpha, think about it, you are actually doing the inverse of substitution. Because in substitution, you know alpha, you are finding what is the value of y, f of alpha. Here you are saying I know the value of f of x, it is 0 or 7 or 8, which is basically you can convert it back to 0. Okay, so I know the value f of x is 0, I want to find out what is x. They are actually in some sense the opposites of each other. So the shortest and the simplest way to think about solving an equation is you are searching for the alpha which will make f of x 0. Correct? Now obviously we don't want to search because it's a very complicated idea. How do you solve for something and you want to search, okay, put 1, put 2, put 3, put 4, and it may not ever become 0, right? By the way, if it's a really complicated equation, quadratic turns out to be a reasonably easy one. Now, the fact that you want to do the inverse operation of substitution turns out to be very useful and very essential. But for most questions, you can't actually find a nice closed form answer. It turns out that people look for linear questions. Like, what would you do for linear? 2x plus 7 is 0. You use the idea that you can just take everything to that side and you solve it like this. Okay, there is one powerful idea which works for many equations. The second big powerful idea from this is, if you say something is 0, the only way something can be 0 is if it was the product of zeros. Product of non-zeros can never be 0. You know it. And so people use that to solve equations. So if I can somehow write this as x minus alpha into x minus beta, maybe into a into whatever. Now if a is not 0, this must be 0, that must be 0, because otherwise there is no way bunch of numbers can multiply and give you 0 if one of them is not 0. At least one of them must be 0. So therefore we have solved for x by saying x is alpha or beta. By the way, does this work only for 2 things or does it work for 100 things?
100.
If I had 100 things together multiplied, that gives me 0, one of them has to be 0. Correct? So if I had x minus 3 into x minus 4 into x minus 5 into x minus 4, x minus 2.7 is 0, let us say 6 times, then the possibilities are x is 3, x is 5, x is 4, x is 2.7. These are the only possibilities, and if I put a plus here, x is minus 4. So these are the only possibilities. You see, linear equations are very easy to solve just by transposing this. Take this side 7 to that side, minus 7 divided by 2, you are done. Everything else, every single thing else depends on one idea, which is this. Quadratic starts off with this. There is one more trick for quadratic, but for everything else, you have to try and see if you can. We say factorize. So if you can write it as a bunch of factors, then the idea is, if you have a bunch of factors that's equal to 0, then one of them must be 0. So that gives you a simpler way to solve it. Do you see why now we go for 0? If you had 7 and I told you that I had a factor, this factor is equal to 7, you cannot conclude this must be 7, that must be 1. Can't do. If it was integers, you can say, oh, it must be prime numbers, etc. Right? But why should this be integer? This could be 7 and that could be 49. Absolutely no reason why this cannot be 1 by 7. It could be 1 by root 7 and that could be 7 root 7. It could even be irrational. Right? So therefore you can't decide what these factors are. See, we usually say if I have 6, product of 2 numbers is 6. You say, oh, it can be 2 into 3. It can be 1 into 6. What are the other possibilities?
1 by 6 into 3.
But there are millions of possibilities. There are few possibilities because we are saying I want natural numbers. But who's asking you to keep these natural? Maybe they can be irrational numbers. They could be like whatever numbers you want. Let's assume even real numbers. But even within real numbers, there are so many possibilities. So product is equal to 6, not useful. But product is 0, very useful. Which is why we try to solve this is equal to 0. Okay, because everything comes back to one simple idea. Can I write it as a bunch of factors? So, clear? Now, it turns out, in fact, by the way, a lot of people in the Middle Ages, when again Europe started focusing a lot on learning mathematics and so on, they basically tried to look at, after the Middle Ages, they started to focus a bit more on solving equations. By the way, a lot of these quadratic equations came from India. Okay, so Indians were writing down quadratic equations and trying to, so they would give long algorithms for how to solve an equation, including linear equation. Now many of these things went from here to Arabia because the Arabs were actually doing a lot of mathematics at that point, and from there slowly it went back into Europe. because Europeans were not quite, after the early Greek period, they're completely given up on all of this. So people started learning different techniques. So sometime around, I think 1490s, 1450s, 1490s, it used to be a hot topic in Europe, saying, do you know how to solve this equation, 2x square plus 7x plus 3, and stuff like that, because they would actually spend each one, they would try to figure it out by coming up with one alternate solution or the other, usually by factorization. So you have to guess. So factorization is an important tool, but you see, factorization does not work in all cases. You know how to do it. So let us take one or two examples and try it out.